Welcome, everyone, to the Ward 1 and Ward 5 City Council debates brought to you by the Revere Advocate and Revere TV. For tonight's debate, we're going to start up with the Ward 5 for about 45 minutes, then we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back and do the Ward 1 debate. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you Jim Mitchell, who is going to read the outline of the format for the debates tonight.
Thank you, Ed. Tonight's format will be the candidates will draw a number to see who responds for the question 1. The first responder for each question will alternate. And an example, the candidate drawing the first response position for the first question will be the second responder for the question 2. There are a total of 4 questions. Each question will be presented to both candidates. Each candidate will be given 4 minutes to respond to the question. After each candidate has responded to the question, the debate moderators may ask for additional information to seek clarification to a response or provide time for a rebuttal response where deemed appropriate by the moderators. Maximum time for the clarification rebuttal period will be 3 minutes, 1.5 minutes per candidate.
Good evening, residents of Revere and residents of Ward 5. I'm Al Terminello, Jr., candidate for City Council for Ward 5. And the first question being is, what do I deem the kind of important issues in Ward 5 right now? Well, the first one is the slogan of my campaign, which is bringing unity to Ward 5. Ward 5 is a very diverse area. It's spread out. It's hard to keep track of everybody, and people feel separated. You have the Point of Pines area, you have the Oak Island area, you have the Revere Beach area, and then you go down the other side of Revere, which is on Broadway, and down by Library Street and for Beach Street. So Ward 5 is kind of tough to kind of always feel tight and together with. And that brings people to be, you need to have a good communication to be able to keep that together, and that seems to be lacking here in the Ward 5 area. Residents have been saying about return calls not being made on issues. I intend to change all that. It's very important that the people feel part of the government that they're paying their hard-earned tax money for, and being represented in a way that they feel safe and secure. I want to bring a board of sorts of representatives from the local different areas of Revere together on a monthly meeting or more if needed to make sure that all their needs and questions are answered as best as I can, and also to inform them of any upcoming votes in the ward that I might have to make decisions on that might actually influence their way of life, and I want their input before I make that decision. The second thing, that I deem necessary is the separation between businesses and the residents. That's very important for people to understand that without businesses in a city kind of dies. You need that. In Revere, again, we're in a very unique position that we have a by resident business area zone type of thing. It's been that way for a long time. And because of the lack of business, those areas have gone undeveloped. And residents that have lived there or bought property there kind of felt like when a business does finally get to be able to move in there, they feel like they've been invaded. You can't feel that way. Businesses are good for Revere. Business is the way Revere can grow into the future. I intend to develop that. That's something that also has not been nurtured in the Ward 5 area in some of the businesses. It seems to be alienated as far as I'm concerned. I've been past president of the Revere Chamber of Commerce twice, so I do know the value of a business, and I do appreciate what my neighbors want for their homes and their children to grow up in their way of life. Public safety is another thing that I always stress. I think it's very important for people to feel safe in their homes and feel that their children are safe on our streets. Our streets are, all the streets surrounding the high school, because of the traffic conditions, I believe should have some type of speed bump or speed monitoring system. That's not that expensive, and I believe that it will be a good thing. I would establish crime watches, educate the residents on how to handle trouble in their areas, and make sure that they take an active role in police forums and learn how to maintain their areas of safety. Thank you.
Yeah, great. John.
Okay, in reference to Mr. Terminello's last mention about Crime Watch meetings, we did have a Crime Watch meeting back in May at the Jack Satter House. The meeting was so large that we had to move it from one smaller room into the main dining room. I think there were probably close to 300 people there. And they were people from Point of Pines, from Oak Island, from up around the high school, from Mr. Terminello's same area where he lives. And it was very effective. And we got an awful lot discussed there. And we came away with a feeling that the police department was going to pay a little more attention to the people in those areas. As far as, I think the question you ask is what do you think the problems are in Ward 5?
Right.
Okay, there's certainly sidewalks. There's certainly, one of the main problems is a culvert down there that I feel should be cleaned every opportunity available. I mean, this culvert runs along from Wonderland down through North Shore Road, the back of North Shore Road, down to Acadia Street, and out hits a trash rack there and goes out to the B&M tracks. That's very important. And right now that culvert has a lot of phragmites in it. As a matter of fact, I recommended $100,000 in the budget this year for cleaning culverts, and I believe that they were only allowed $50,000. So, money is a big thing. There's another issue here. There's a lot on Beverly Street in Oak Island. For the past, since I've been in office, I've opposed building on that lot. It's a retention area for stormwater. We spent $900,000 on Arcadia, Argyle, York, and Ellerton Streets back 3 or 4 years ago. And it didn't make sense to me to allow someone to come in and build on a lot that was a retention area for stormwater. And if I have my way, that lot will never be built on. It'll be cleaned up, but not built on. Okay. The other thing, I believe, is overdevelopment. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, I believe Mr. Terminello was there and I was there. We had a meeting down at the Old Wharf Restaurant regarding a proposed development of 42 units in that area down by the boatyard. I made my voice very clear even before the meeting to residents down there, Doreen Weinberg and other people, even Elaine Hurley, that I was going to oppose this development. I thought it was overpowering in the neighborhood, traffic-wise, and it just didn't belong there. As a matter of fact, one of the first things I did as a city council was work to change the zoning in the RA district. And what we did was we removed the word special permit. At one time, if you lived in the RA district, which would be the Point of Pines and the Grove section of Oak Island, you could go and get a special permit to build a multifamily dwelling. I eliminated that. You can't do it anymore. So I think that was a positive thing for the ward. We've had, when I first got elected, we were building, developers were building homes, two-family homes on 3,000 square foot lots, or 3,200 square foot lots. To me, that was unacceptable because there was no place for parking. It was just increasing the density in the neighborhoods. So what we did was we eliminated that. It's in a flood area. You're now required to have 6,000 square feet to build a two-family home. So that, to me, that's a positive thing. Again, overdevelopment, I think, is a big problem, not just in Ward 5, but all over the city. And I want to say that a couple of my votes, one of them was against 4 3-bedroom over the old Dairy Queen site up. You're familiar with that, Al, up on Eastern Edge, right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Got to kind of wrap it up a little bit because your
Okay,
time
that's
is
right.
up at this point.
And the other thing I voted against was the addition of 261 apartments in back of BJ's down there.
Okay.
So I feel very proud of that.
Al, any?
Well, yeah, you were saying about that you're overdevelopment, but yet you positively voted for casinos to come in here and bring all the extra traffic, and you're talking about extra buildings and things that are there. And at that meeting, John, basically, I didn't see it that you were exactly with the people there because it took you about 45 minutes to say anything. And anybody that's introduced by a developer is usually pretty much something that's kind of brought in to help the people in that area get appeased by what they get to promote. I remember speaking out quite loudly several times before you came forward and mentioned anything.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
I feel that it's always wise to listen to what the proposal is before you just come right out and say you're against it. Listen to what the people want down there. I know what they want down there.
So do I. They already told me that.
As a matter of fact, we had a neighborhood meeting down there where you were not present a couple of Saturdays ago with the Conservation Commission and the neighborhood down there, and then subsequently there was a meeting before the Conservation Commission at City Hall on a Wednesday afternoon. You weren't there either, and I was at both of those meetings speaking against that proposal.
All right. Jim,
Okay.
do you have any follow-up?
Well, you know, we're talking about communication, one of the things that Al brought up, and you mentioned that in some of the meetings, that the last couple of meetings, bringing up basically what people want to hear. You know, we're looking at an impact right now, the potential of an impact. You were mentioning how overdevelopment, and one of the things that we saw on the beach, for example, is I think the motel that's going to be was created. There was a project, I think, that was presented by the attorney Salamone for representing the Castlemar Motel, and they were going to put proposing units,
Yeah.
but DPW, Mr. Goodwin mentioned that the infrastructure, the sewer system, it was opposed. In other words, the water wouldn't support it, the sewer wouldn't support it.
correct.
But yet, we still see less than a mile away, we're seeing a proposal for a casino. We're seeing proposals for hotels right across at Shaw's. What is your feeling on that? Or even at the trailer park,
Do
there's
you
a
want me
proposal.
to answer the casino
Please.
question now?
Well,
No.
oh, I'm sorry.
I will.
Yeah, we
shooting
could
my
go
own-
into
I
that. I
will.
think we could
I
probably go
wanna
into
ask
that
both
next.
of them,
Yeah,
both the
yeah.
candidates that,
All right.
actually.
Yeah, why don't we get into that one when we talk about the casino? I think it'd be fair. I just had one question for both of you because in talking about your three issues, I didn't hear anything about the fire station, and I kind of thought that was a major issue for that area. Is it not?
Yeah, it is a major issue, but I think that's kind of been brought up as far as with the casinos because of the money issue.
Okay.
And it really wasn't. It was turned down by as far as the way the money was allocated for the money. We got a football stadium and a Boys and Girls Club. I believe the fire station was added to that list, but was taken off.
Okay.
And then Revere was going to be responsible out of that $4 million, but that $4 million seems to have been going a long way.
But you believe there should be a fire station
Oh,
there? Is that-
positively.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
And John?
First of all, this city in the past 10 years, according to the federal census, has grown by 9.5%. That's several thousand people.
Right.
We have more drug overdoses out there. And they do respond to those. It's by law, they have to respond.
Right.
We have more cars out there. Now, Engine 2, which is in the Point of Pines, I've advocated for opening that station since I've been on the city council. We haven't had the money. And I really believe that, and I'll get into that later with the casino thing, you know, you're only going to open it with revenue. You've got people living in those high-rise condominiums. You've got people living on Riverside in the Point of Pines, 70, 80, 90 years old, who are susceptible to stroke or heart attack or something like that. Now, the other day, Engine 4, Engine 5, Ladder 1, Engine 1 were out on a box call, okay? The only thing covering this city at that time was Engine 3 up in North Revere and Ladder 2 on Broadway. Now, can you imagine those engines responding to somebody that was having a medical emergency, an elderly person, whether it's in the Point of Pines or even in those high-rise buildings? Because when you get to that high-rise building, it's going to take you at least another minute to get on the elevator and get up and reach that person. So I've advocated opening that station from day one, and I spoke with the chief. The chief was at a meeting. This is public information. He said he hopes to open that station
Right.
within 2 years. I think you were at that meeting.
Based on the casino revenues.
That's correct.
Correct.
That's
Right. And it's
Then we
been
can-
pointed out.
Right, yep. Okay. You want to take the second question?
Absolutely. Okay, gentlemen, tell us what you think.
This one goes to John. Yep.
Okay, yep, John, tell us what you think the three biggest problems or issues facing the city as a whole, why you think they exist, and what you will do to address them if you are elected in the Ward 5 representative on the city council. Re-elected, excuse me.
Well, I think the biggest issue in the city is overdevelopment, lack of commercial development.
Right.
Okay? I think I've already addressed the overdevelopment by voting against projects that I thought were not good for the city. Again, the project in back of BJ's, the project down near Mr. Terminello's house. I voted against those. Our bonded debt, right now we're bonded probably, I think, $140 million.
Right.
$140 million, which is fast approaching what our annual budget is. It just doesn't make sense. One of the other issues regarding the bonded debt was the McKinley School. When I first got elected, I said I would support 5 new schools. We were told at that time it was $85 million, 90% reimbursed by the state. So to me it said $8.5 million for 5 new schools. 2 of our schools, the McKinley and the Paul Revere, were over 100 years old. You could probably spend $8.5 million on maintenance in those schools and the other schools over a 10-year period. So I said, makes sense to go along with. What I didn't vote for, and I'm very proud of this vote, was when the school department came up and said, well, our population in the school department is increasing by 200 to 300 kids per year. Tells me you need another building. They also said later on that when the McKinley School is built, which will be probably 2.5 to 3 years, it won't be large enough to satisfy the school population. So I voted against the $2.5 million, which wasn't $2.5 million if you did the math. It was $4.7 million to rehab the old McKinley School into an office building. My feeling was keep that old school the way it is for the time being. Kids are in there now. Kids can go in there 3 years from now if they have to, versus building another school and laying it on the backs of the taxpayers again. So I think, our bonded debt the ratio is very high compared to our budget. And I just don't think it makes sense to bond all these things.
Right.
So overdevelopment and bonded debt, is there a third issue that you have that's a citywide issue?
Yeah, again, the infrastructure. I think it's, I walk around Ward 5 talking to residents, and you see broken sidewalks, you see trees, which probably those type of trees never should have been planted years ago, pushing up the sidewalk panels. We've got situations like that all over the place. In fact, the other day I was up on Tree Valley Road. I almost tripped on a sidewalk that was just coming up with a tree. And somebody had tripped on it before that. So I was fortunate enough to be able to get that corrected for that residence. But, we get $600,000 a year, $700,000 a year, depending on what the state gives us, for Chapter 90 money for sidewalks and streets and repair. It's not enough money. It certainly isn't. Your cities like Revere, Chelsea, Lynn, Fall River, New Bedford, Lawrence, Lowell, all heavily populated cities. We seem to be getting all of the newer residents into this city. As I said before, our population in the past 10 years, and this is what they've accounted for, 9.50 increase in population. They're giving us the people coming in here, but they're not giving us the money to satisfy the needs of the city itself.
Right.
Al?
Okay. As far as rebuttal, I had problems with what we spent.
Before we get to the
You can
rebuttal,
answer the question.
what are your
Oh,
what are
my
the 3
issues?
issues that you see?
You want me to repeat the question?
No, I got it. I got the question.
Repeat it to me now.
All right. Citywide, one of the top concerns that I've seen lately is the flood insurance rates, especially talking to a lot of people down the Point of Pines. I've been walking around down there, and they're really out of control over the flood insurance rates. And, now that FEMA has got involved in it, they've extended the water table. So now they're kind of coming down to areas surrounding the high school, which is my area, which, we had a little water in my cellar, it's about 1 inch, but now we're considered a high-risk flood zone. So the rates are going to be going sky high. We need to stand strong with that. That's a Washington problem, but it's a citywide problem, because if you look around the country, people have left their homes on account of $25,000 flood insurance rates. Since Hurricane Katrina. It's unbelievable. And the people down the Pines, especially because they're the brunt of the waterfront, the heavier, they're concerned already about their rates, and they could triple, even quadruple. And we don't know what that is. Who's going to set the rates? Is it the government, or is it going to be the insurance companies who are taking us, holding us hostage here? What we can do for that is the city maps department. They can argue how the flood tables are going to be, and we need to stand behind them. We need to put that through. Residents cannot afford insurance rates of $10,000 more a year, or even more. We need to write our state representatives. We need to write our state senators and tell them if they're not on our side, then they need to be replaced with people who are going to stand strong against this type of government that's hurting our taxpayer. The next one that I think that's kind of is the infrastructure. The Department of Justice back in 2010 issued a $700,000 fine and a mandate that we have to spend $10 million over the next 10 years to fix the infrastructure of the city. That is a direct cost right to the taxpayer. We have monies that we just can't afford, and that's a direct rate of it's going to go on our tax rate. But again, those are things that need to be done. Repairs on lines are vital to the city running right. We're addressing that. They're lining the pipes. They're addressing it with houses that have illegal sump pumps pumping water into the sewer system. That's bringing the key word here is infiltration water, which is coming in from the outside rather than running through the pipes. Again, there's the sewer relief fund that Mayor Rizzo started. People want us to spend that. You need to see a lot more numbers than that. That's a pro and con type of thing. But money is going to be coming in. What we need to do is tighten our belts and stop spending. Unfortunately, you sound like you're negative, but Christmas decorations and higher salaries in foolish lawsuits sometimes the city finds itself in cost us millions and millions of dollars. Now's the time. You need to stand strong. You need to understand that basics are important, and getting by with the city is what we need. The third thing that I see, again, is schools. Enrollment and development. There's some new numbers coming out right now from Overlook Ridge. There's 31 new students scheduled to come into schools. That's over $400,000 attached to our budget. In 5 years, we could see over $3 million added to that just by students that are coming into our classrooms. In Overlook Ridge at the time wasn't supposed to have 0 kids. There was supposed to be none coming out of there. Now all of a sudden there's 31. So we need to address these things. We need to stand strong and live up to what parameters we set in our development. Thank you.
Okay. John, any response or rebuttal to what Al just said?
Well, first of all, Al wants to do a lot with regards to infrastructure, streets, sidewalks, etc., drainage. I've already, during my tenure as a city councilor, I've already had over $4 million in monies spent in Ward 5, okay? As a matter of fact, Al, when we built the Rumney Marsh Academy and we found those collapsed culverts down there, they were coming right, flooding your area down there, Eastern Tapley and True Street. We spent over $1 million down there correcting that, okay?
That's correct.
Okay, number one. Number two, I know you've been critical of the Point of Pines pump station, the $1 million we spent down there, but I can tell you now, people are not experiencing sewerage in their homes anymore.
What I want to know is why it extended over $700,000 over budget.
I'll tell you why. Initially, the mayor thought, Mayor Ambrosino, thought he could do that for $300,000. And it came in a little higher than $300,000, and that would have been a Band-Aid approach, okay? The determination was made by the mayor and Superintendent Goodwin and the council that a new station was needed down there. We don't have 2 pumps now, we have 3. We have a brand new generator down there. The other generator was breaking down all the time. We have a new electrical system in there. That pump station is functioning the way it was intended to function. And as a matter of fact, I've spoken with the engineers. We had a girl down there that was from the city of Revere. She was the clerk of the works, and she did a great job down there. So, the other thing is, too, down in Oak Island, Arcadia, Ella,
wrap it
New
up
York,
on this one.
we spent another $800,000 there addressing the same problem. If you have to come home after working all day to a basement or a house filled with sewerage, then something's wrong, and I've done everything I can to correct that.
Thank you, John.
All
Ed,
right.
next question.
All right, the next question that a lot of people are asking and we'll be answering hopefully on November 5th. On November 5th, the vote on the proposed casino at Suffolk Downs has been called one of the most important decisions residents of Revere will have to make in our lifetime. Please tell us if you are for or against the casino coming into Revere and why. This one goes to Al first.
Okay. Well, in a word, no. I'm not for the casinos coming into the city. This is the stepping on the devil's tail. Either way, yes or no. But given this some soul searching, in which I stated 5 years ago, and I still maintain the same thing, I think for supporting the little guy, the homeowner, and the general population of the ward that I hope to represent, I'd have to say that I have to go against the casinos. I believe the traffic will be outrageous. It's bad enough now. Our roads are terrible. They won't be able to get in and out. It'll take them hours to get home. Our car insurance rates will probably go up. They're high. We're the highest around now. They'll increase because of that. Crimes of vice, all kinds of different things. This is fact. I mean, this isn't something supposition. You go to any place that has casinos, this is all fact. The deals that they made, there was no money for education in there. There was no money for the fire station. That's where I came in with that, because it was put on the list. It was taken off. Revere would have to pay for that. There were other places that got better deals from casinos than what Revere got handed. That and the police. Again, the estimation of money is way off. It's a dependency economy. That's what you're building Revere on, a dependency economy. You're hoping that people come in here, lose their money, and accordingly, we benefit from that. I don't particularly like that type, or put my money in that. There's casinos in other cities. Detroit just went bankrupt. There's a casino right in the middle of Detroit. That didn't seem to help Detroit much, and despite the auto industry and all. It just hurt it. Pennsylvania is the same thing. Foxwoods, Mohegan Sun, and Three Rivers, they're also experiencing way down revenues, over almost 40%, layoffs of jobs, people that have jobs. Houses are boarded up, and you can see that on the internet. Just Google Earth and look at the roads that are leading into the casinos. And then you have late night entertainment, which the people along the beach area have been fighting for years. They wanted a 10 o'clock parking. And the other thing I can see happening is once you bring that in, you're going to have meters on the beach, because once the state owns the rights to that, they're going to be wanting revenues and the meters. Revere won't be making that money. It will be the state. The jobs, I don't think it's anywhere near. It's a couple of hundred jobs at best for Revere if you're going to see them. And what the money is, I have no idea. And plus, the place that they brought in that was sworn to, that every stone was unturned to look over, Caesars is bankrupt. They had problems with them. Caesars was disqualified this week. So now they're looking for somebody else, which is not a problem, but it is a problem. It just goes to show the type of people that you're dealing with. What other problems are there? I just don't think that a casino in around any city is a good thing, especially in Revere. And the bottom line here is, and again, this is something you'll see anywhere, because do you want to buy a house next to a casino if you're 25 years old and wanting to raise your kids with traffic and high insurance and everything else? Of course not. So you know what? They can say anything they want. Your house values will drop. They might go up in the first year or so. That's a honeymoon period. But once the newness and the glitter wears off of a casino, try to sell your house then. I don't think so. So as far as casinos go, I say no.
Okay. No equivocation on that one. John.
Before I answer the question, I just want to relate to one of the comments that Al made with regard to, the late night on the beach, noise, etc. Tom Ambrosino and myself worked to put down a quiet zone in the area of the St. George and some of those other buildings down there. So that's in effect now. And they also have meters that they can get down, decibel meters, and measure the sound down there. Now, let's talk about a casino. Am I going to vote for a casino? Yes, I am. But I'm not going to make the decision myself. There's going to be 25,000 people in the city that are eligible to go out and make that decision.
Absolutely.
And it will be the will of the people that prevails. But it will go a little further then. It will be the will of the Gaming Commission also. And I think the gaming, we talk about crime and all the bad things coming. I am so happy that the Gaming Commission did what they did with regard to Caesars, because it showed me that they're out there turning over every stone. They're looking at everything. And if that casino goes to Suffolk Downs, they're going to be very proactive as far as scrutinizing what's going on down there. Now, traffic. 1A, 107, Lynn Marsh Road, 107, the Boulevard, American Legion Highway. If you're coming from the North Shore to go to a casino, whether it's in Everett or it's in Suffolk Downs, you're going to be impacted the same in the city coming from the North Shore. So that isn't really, it's an issue, but it really isn't an issue that's going to change no matter where that casino goes. Now, hotel development, the Shaw site, that's a perfect spot for a hotel. The trailer park, which I felt we should get rid of that a long time ago. I met with a developer last week with the owner of the trailer park, and they're trying to get together on a price to put a hotel there. Whether or not the casino comes, they want to put a hotel there. Okay, Comfort Inn gives us right now $500,000 in revenue. When you build a hotel, you don't send kids to school, you don't pick up their trash, you get the permitting fees initially, you get the real estate tax, you provide jobs. I've got a fellow that lives in my ward that drives the van. He's up in your precinct. He drives the van down at the Comfort Inn. It's an extra job. He's a retiree. It's an extra few bucks for him. Kids in this city and their parents worked down at Wonderland for so many years, and as a result, we're able to send the kids to college. The kids were able to have a little spending money in their pocket. It's not really that big an issue as far as I'm concerned. And at Wonderland, we had the double every night from 6 to 7:30. You couldn't get down North Shore Road. Mm-hmm. A casino brings intermittent traffic. It's not coming all at once. So you want to open Engine 2 down the Point of Pines. You want to fix streets. You want to fix sidewalks. You want to do all of these things. You need money to do it. It's not going to fall out of the sky. So am I voting for the casino? Yes, I am. Okay, but I'm only one vote. And whatever the majority wants in the city, that's what I'll support.
Rebuttal?
No.
I just believe that casino, and again, the Gaming Commission doesn't necessarily have to pick Everett for a site either, from what I understand. There's other sites available. So it's not even, regardless of that, it's not really quite a done deal. Hopefully they might see that, and I do applaud the Gaming Commission for what they did. No matter whether you're pro or against the casino, you want to at least have some faith in the Gaming Commission that's going to run it. And I too do agree with that 100%. I'm glad that they intervened with that. But again, everything was supposed to have already been through all this. We were promised all this, and you were bringing in something that was a potential problem. How many other potential problems there are, I have no idea. But again, like I said, I'm on the side of caution here a little bit, and I just always felt, again, am I going to fight them? Am I going to try to burn them down because they're in here? No, I will support the will of the people. Right. That's for sure.
Just one last rebuttal,
sure,
if I may. Sure. Wonderland is closed right now, okay? If a casino doesn't go to Suffolk Downs, you could very well see that closed down. There are Revere people that worked there. There were hundreds of Revere people that worked at Wonderland. They're not there anymore. And the other thing is, Suffolk Downs owns Wonderland. So if they don't have a casino there, Wonderland could lie dormant for the next 5 years.
Well, quick question, John. As the incumbent, given the news on Friday when we found out that Caesars was dropped, Councilor Haas, Councilor Arrigo mentioned how it's going to be a tough sell now to the voters. Do you find that to be the case, a tough sell to say, let's keep the horse running, so to speak?
I haven't spoken to that many voters about this. Mm-hmm. You know, there are other issues I speak to people on, but you know, how a person feels with regard to voting on a casino for or against, I don't question the way anyone votes. That's their business. You know, right. and I don't ask them how they're voting, okay, because it's not my business how anyone else votes.
Right.
I told you how I'm going to vote, and I hope that the majority of the people vote yes on it, because we need this added revenue. There's no question about it.
Okay. Yeah. I think this kind of opens up another door, because we're looking at something in the past 20 years, since, well, more than that. Since the blizzard of '78, we saw just the annihilation of Revere Beach, but we saw something that opened up, I think, to the city, which was development, and that's been here and probably two administrations, so to speak, current and the last one, and even before that, we just didn't see anything happen for Revere Beach. And oceanfront, we saw nothing. All we saw was the DCR add piping plovers. What do we have? What's the solution if a casino license isn't granted to Suffolk Downs? What happens to all the dreams?
Well, I think the solution is, at least on the northern end of the boulevard that I represent, is the Ocean Club, hoping that market comes back again. Somebody will build there. The Fiesta lot down there, hoping that they'll build there, because you can't just leave those lots vacant. Okay, I worked very hard with the developer of Joe DeGangi for that Atlantica down there. When I first got elected, the old nursing home, do you remember that, with the hedges overgrown? I walked in there one night behind the hedges to see if anybody was in there, and some guy asked me if I had $1. I mean, that's what was down there. Now look at it now.
The apartments.
Look at it now. You've got apartments down there. Richie Clayman and his brother Stephen met with me. We sat down. They told me what they wanted to do. It sounded good. And I said, go ahead. You have my support. And it's there today.
But yet hasn't another one at the beginning of the beach been stalled out? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other things that were started during those administrations that are now all empty lots that homeless people are living in. They're finding dead animals in. There's all kinds of things, of remnants of bad deals that Revere has made time and time again.
Not in Ward 5.
Oh,
Okay.
Again, it's just you're talking about this, this is all brought in as far as casinos goes and development goes.
Okay, we're going to move on to the
Last question? Okay.
last question, and that would
All
be
right.
to me.
Yep.
All right, finally I get to do something here. What is your historical background? I think this question is going to go to
John.
John. Yes, historical background, connection to your ward and your city. What qualifies you to be, what continues to qualify you as the city councilor? And what do you believe are the major differences between you and your opponent? And why should the voters in your ward vote for you? How many questions is that, Ed?
That's 4 questions, yeah. That's a wrap-up.
All right, that's a good route. Okay,
First,
we'll go with that.
first of all,
I could repeat that if you want.
First of all, when I was 27 years old, I was selected to work in the governor's office as the administrative secretary right in the governor's office, and also secretary for intergovernmental relations, which meant that I was dealing with different state agencies, representing the governor at these state agencies. Secondly, I attended a school on community governance over at the JFK School in Harvard. Okay, I learned an awful lot about there, but what they taught us is where the cities were going, what direction they were taking, what the needs of people living in those cities would be, what the needs of people moving into those cities would be. I worked in the mayor's office for 2 years under Mayor Hess. Okay, I've got my time on the city council. I've been accused of not having neighborhood meetings. Well, I want to tell you something. I'm in the neighborhood every day in the week. Before I left here, I was down on Library Street talking to people. I'm down on Mills Avenue. I'm down on the Point of Pines. I'm down on Neponset Street where I live. I mean, just go around and you'll see the people that are supporting me down there. They're supporting me. Not because I failed to call them back, because I did call them back and I had a meeting with them. And I intend to do that if I'm reelected, and hopefully I will be.
Okay.
Well, the things about me, there's not too much in this city that doesn't have my name on it as far as being part of the growth of this community, 100%. I've formed the Revere Veterans Committee. Revere had passed on that for 15 years, and we brought that back. This TV station, I was on the founding board of that. I was the first co-chairman of the board of directors for this Revere TV for 3 years. I was founder of one of the founding of the independent newspaper group, and now it's the Revere Journal. Everything I've done, I was twice past president of the Chamber of Commerce. I have done nothing but improve and work to make this city work better. I actually ran the first Sandcastle Festival on Revere Beach. I was part of the initial vigil on Revere Beach for substance abuse. I was on the founding board for that. I have always I've spoke at the city council many a times, stood up for the residents, the taxpayers in the city of Revere on many issues, and I proudly stand on my issues now on anything that I've always said, and will stand strong and stand by the taxpayer in the city of Revere. Sometimes it's not easy. You go against people that you want. I've been around talking to a lot of people. I find out what they want, what their needs are, and hopefully I will bring a stronger community, a stronger Ward 5, and make that into a better community for the city of Revere should I be elected in November. Thank you very much.
Can
Go right ahead.
I know there's a little rebuttal in there.
Yep.
First of all, and with all due respect to Mr. Terminello, he is employed out of the city, a good distance away. I'm retired now. I can do this job. I'm a full-time city councilor.
Why were they calling me when they couldn't reach you?
You'll have
You
your
can always reach me. My phone number is on the television, and my home phone goes right to my cell phone. So I'm always available. And maybe that's why I've been successful in getting things done over the past years.
Okay.
Al?
Oh, I've gotten calls from people that you're not calling them back. I might be out of the city, but I can reach them through email, through Facebook, through other media that makes me accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which they seem to have found that you not available. Personally, I believe, regardless of my time, that I work full time. The fact of the matter is, you lack the conviction and the resolve to get things done. The last 6 years, things have been stagnant. It's easy to sit at a city council meeting and say yes and vote and put things that are handed in front of you. I'm out there with the community. I'm touching the people. I'm hearing what they want every day. I know what I can bring them and make Ward 5 a much stronger place.
I don't vote yes all the time, Al. I vote no many times, and maybe that's why the mayor and myself have a little disagreement from time to time, because I'm not a rubber stamp for anyone. I vote my convictions. I voted against that helicopter pad down in Oak Island, the guy that has your sign on his
That's
property,
correct.
because the people down there didn't want a helicopter pad.
People on the beach don't want the traffic. And you voted for that by voting for a
Are
casino.
we pretty much out of time, Ed,
I-
would you say, or? I'm sorry?
We're
Quarter of.
right there at that time. So
Okay.
I think you've heard quite a bit. You've heard where both candidates stand, where they see the issues are. You obviously understand and know their position on the casino at this point, and why they think they're qualified, and some of the differences between the two of them. I hope we've helped you make your decision come November 5th. Jim?
I agree, and if this doesn't give you a reason to get out and vote and choose the candidate that you think represents your views, especially at a time when we're looking at such a financial impact, there's so much at stake right now, and I think apathy is what's really hurting us.
Yeah.
And government right now.
Yeah, it's so important.
People need to get out and vote.
That's very true. You know, the money allocated in our budget for health care is $16 million, okay? The money for public safety, police, and fire is only 17.5, okay? So you can see that these things are fast approaching the really things that I think are essential necessities to keep the city moving in the right direction.
Thanks, John. Al, I'll give you one last comment if you'd like.
I couldn't agree more as far as making the city go in the right direction. I just feel that the taxpayer, the people of Revere need somebody that's standing behind them all the time. Somebody who will take the brunt and sometimes not make the most not the most popular decision, but something that's in their best interest. And by getting in touch with the people and having meetings, I intend to bring that to Ward 5. Thank you very much.
All right, well, there you have it. You've heard from both candidates. Get out there on November 5th and vote. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Al.
Thank you very much.
guys.
Al.
Thank you.
Great
John.
job.
Thank you.
Al,
John?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.